Let's start things off by doing a little physical overview of the Pro controllers. The shape and ergonomics of the controllers are identical to the Quest 2 controllers, but minus the tracking ring, of course, and the thumb rest portion here, which is angled on the Pro controller. In place of the tracking ring, the Quest Pro controllers have 3 cameras on them, which they use for inside-out tracking. So no longer do the controllers need to be in view of the cameras on your headset, as they now track themselves. Each controller is equipped with a SnapDragon 662 CPU to process the video and motion control data, which is the same processor found in a number of smartphones, and is surely at least part of the reason why these controllers are so freaking expensive. The main body of the controllers is composed of this smooth black plastic on the top and outside portion, and a textured, almost rubberized feeling material on the inside portion that contacts your hands. Unlike the Quest 2 controllers, the Pro controllers have a built-in rechargeable battery, and this little guy here is the charging port. Officially Meta, I hate that name, says the battery life of the Pro controllers is up to 8 hours. But in my playtesting, they lasted about 9 hours, which is better than the advertised battery life, but significantly less than what you get out of a single AA battery in the Quest 2 controllers, which I don't even know how long they last exactly, because they literally last for months. After running the controllers down to around 5% charge, it took about 3 hours to charge them all the way back up again. While the magnetic docking is super cool and premium feeling, it can be a bit finicky getting the controllers to sit properly on the charging dock. Once you've got them properly docked, however, the controllers will vibrate, you'll hear a little chime sound, and the indicator lights on the controllers will light up, letting you know they're docked correctly and charging. The wrist straps on the Quest Pro controllers have a much higher quality look and feel than those on the Quest 2 controllers. But the little clasp thing that is supposed to secure them to your wrists is pretty much crap. In games where you're not rapidly flailing your arms about, they do work fine, but while I was playing Beat Saber on Expert, they loosened up in a matter of seconds. Had the controller slipped out of my hands while I was playing, I don't think the straps would have done anything to prevent them from flying across the room. In my opinion, these controllers should have been designed with grip straps built into them, like the Valve Index controllers. But since they do not, you'll have to purchase some of your own, which is what I ended up doing. Link in the video description. Anyway, the wrist straps are made of a leather or faux leather material, and do feel really nice. The nicest part about them, though, is how they attach and detach from the controllers. You simply push in on it like this and then turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter which direction, and then you can pull the wrist strap right out. To replace them, you simply repeat this process, but in reverse. The trigger and grip buttons feel exactly the same to me on both the Quest 2 and Pro controllers. The A, B, X, and Y buttons on the Pro controllers are lower profile than their Quest 2 counterparts, and have slightly less travel distance as well. The thumbsticks on both controllers look identical, but I feel like the Pro controllers' thumbsticks have a little more resistance than the Quest 2 controllers, but that could just be due to these being brand new, and I have a good 1.5 years worth of use into my Quest 2 controllers. There is a noticeable difference in weight between the Quest 2 and Pro controllers, with the Pro controller being the heavier of the two. When I put them on a scale, a single Quest 2 controller with a battery installed in it comes in at 5.3 ounces, or 150 grams, and a Quest Pro controller at 5.8 ounces, or 166 grams. So not a big difference, but still significant enough you can feel it. Using the Pro controllers, I honestly didn't notice much of a difference in the tracking between the Quest 2 and Pro controllers. I will say the omission of the tracking ring is pretty great though. I often find them getting in the way in some games. It's most annoying to me in shooters when I'm using a pistol, two-handed, or pulling out and slapping in magazines. With the tracking rings gone, things feel easier and more natural. Even though I didn't notice a tracking difference, my 15-year-old daughter, who plays Beat Saber on Expert Plus, says the tracking on the Pro controllers is noticeably better. She feels the tracking is much more accurate and has helped her more consistently hit blocks that are oftentimes missed when she's using the Quest 2 controllers. One of the main differences I noticed on the Quest Pro controllers is the haptics. The haptic motors in the Quest Pro controllers are much stronger than those in the Quest 2 controllers. There are actually 3 different haptic motors in the Pro controllers. One in the trigger, one under the thumb rest, and one in the controller body. Sadly, none of the games I tested make use of the haptic motors in the trigger or thumb rest, but the main rumble motor in the body of the controller provides some really nice feedback compared to the Quest 2's almost non-existent vibrating. So are the Quest Pro controllers worth the upgrade? In my opinion, no. Yes, they are better, and yes, they feel more premium than the standard controllers, but I just don't think the improvements are big enough to justify the $300 price tag. That being said, I definitely think the Pro controllers are the direction motion controllers will be heading going forward. The fact that they track themselves means this could add some new mechanics to games in the future. Off the top of my head, I can see this allowing players to carry items on the right and left behind our backs, or under our arms, allowing us to do things with our hands above our heads and point a gun in one direction while looking in the complete opposite direction. And I'm sure people that are much more creative than myself will think of even more exciting ways to utilize this functionality. Before I go and call this though, another thing to think about is the Quest 3 is rumored to be launching later in 2023, and most likely the Pro controllers will be compatible with the Quest 3. So for those looking to upgrade to the Quest 3 and wanting the best experience possible, the Pro controllers may be worth upgrading too. Now, there is a possibility the Pro controllers or a variant of them will come in the box with the Quest 3, but personally, I'm not so sure about that. The rumor mill has the price of the Quest 3 being in the same $400 to $500 price range of the Quest 2, so I don't think the Pro controllers will come standard with the Quest 3. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I just don't see Meta including their $300 controllers with a brand new headset for a mere $100 to $200 more. But what do you think? Do you agree? I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments and to hear any new news about the Quest 3 you may have heard.